Hi friends! So I am sitting in traffic currently, like literally going less than 5 miles an hour. So I am on my way to work, and I wanted to talk a little bit about a few things that I have just been thinking about with the back to school videos and everything. So I thought I would do like a super fast, maybe 5 or 10 minute video on some of the mistakes that I made as a new homeschool mom and some of the things that I've learned along the way. I touched a little bit on these things whenever I did my 3 a.m. chat about being a working homeschooling mom. But I thought that I would just kind of go into a little more detail about some of the mistakes that I made and some of the lessons that I've learned. And maybe if you're a new homeschool mom or maybe just starting out, you can gain a little bit of wisdom in some of my suggestions. So the first big mistake that I made as a homeschooling mom is overbuying. I kind of thought that I had to purchase literally everything that I saw every other homeschool mom had, and that was a huge mistake. You can just really accumulate so much stuff, and then once you have all this stuff, it becomes so overwhelming to figure out how to incorporate all those things into your day-to-day learning environment. I still feel like I have too much, and I'm still trying to purge that down. You do not need to go online to all of these, learning websites and buy every manipulative, every little clock, every block, every sight word card, every single, pocket chart, and oh my goodness, the list goes on and on. You don't need all that. You don't even need any of that to homeschool. And then all that is going to do is really add to your stress, because it's more stuff that you've got to find a home for, and it's really just brain clutter, I think. There are some things that I think are really, really great to have, and I'm going to do a video on homeschooling must-haves. And I think apart from those things that are the must-haves, really try to just get rid of the rest of it. So that was my first mistake, overbuying and thinking that I needed to bring the classroom environment home and create all of that. Number two, the biggest mistake that I made was trying to compare my children to other people's children and what they were doing. I think YouTube is wonderful, and I love to watch all the back to school videos and all the plans that everybody has for curriculum and everything. But inevitably, as you watch those videos, your brain is comparing what you're seeing to what you're doing at home yourself. So if this one family has curriculum for writing and history and math and their language arts, and they've also got an art curriculum, and they've got a Bible curriculum, and all the a curriculum set for every single topic that you can think of. And then you're thinking to yourself, my child is not going to be able to write at all like this person's family, because I did not buy a specific curriculum, and we're not spending an hour a day working on handwriting or whatever it is. So don't do that, you guys. Focus on the main things that your children need to learn. Sorry, I've got like the air on and it's blowing my hair in my face. So your children need to know how to read. They need to know how to write. They need to know basic grammar, and they need to have their math skills. And apart from those things, incorporate Bible memory or just reading the Bible to your children. And then read aloud, read stories to them, Don't overcomplicate your homeschool life. Trust me, don't do it. You will set yourself up for failure. The third mistake that I made when I first started homeschooling is I expected every day to be peaceful and joyful, and I expected to get to school every single day. And then a lot of times when my day would not go the way that I had it in my mind, I would be frustrated and I would stop. And we would literally not do school for that day. And we got really behind that way because things were just never going the way I wanted. it was such a hard thing to do. I wanted my children to sit still and do school at the table, and they just weren't ready for that. And I thought that's how it should be. And then everyone got frustrated and there was tears, and then we would end up not doing school at all. So get it out of your mind that you can just give up when your school day doesn't go as planned. You can't. You really need consistency, and you need to get to school every day that you plan on getting to school. I did not do that, and you will learn that, you know, that's just a bad habit to start. If you feel like you can kind of cop out when things start going rough and you get really behind because you can, then you're going to end up being super behind and trying to catch up at the end of the school year, and it really puts a lot of pressure on. So the way that you can combat this issue is, if you're feeling burnt out, if your children are feeling burnt out, stop with the table work and figure out how you can create learning outside. How can you do your lessons in a physical way? How can you do it in a verbal way? Maybe they're really just not ready for the writing, or maybe they're tired and they don't want to do something that way. Instead of butting heads, figure out how you can get your school day in. Okay, so maybe the reading aloud isn't going well. Let's find a video on YouTube about Christopher Columbus, and let's watch that video, and then we'll just talk about it. You know, that's a good way to get that lesson in without forcing your children to sit at the table and fill out the, you know, the worksheet on Christopher Columbus or listen to me read this passage in the history book, or whatever that the case may be. So that is, I think I was on point 3 or 4. I don't even know. The next point that I was going to mention to you is, I don't even know. Let me think. What have I covered? Comparisons, overbuying, not being consistent, basically, is the biggest thing. This is what you do whenever you don't have notes. You kind of lose track. Those are the main points. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are some big ones. Stop comparing yourself to everybody else that you see online. That's a huge one. Simplify your life. Be consistent. Don't spend a ton of money on stuff that you don't need. That's the main points that I wanted to get across. And also, don't neglect to spend time with God before you start your homeschool day. It will make all the difference in the world. Even if you're starting your homeschool day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, be sure to spend time with God at some point before you start, because you got to prepare your heart in order to minister to your children with love and patience. So that's my 2 cents without notes, rambling off the top of my head. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.